You might spend hours each week taking care of your skin, washing your face, applying moisturizer, sunscreen, or just standing in front of the mirror, worrying about a wrinkle that wasn't there yesterday. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what is skin really? Is it just a surface we're supposed to make look good? Or could it be something more? Something alive, sensitive, and far smarter than we realize. Skin is the boundary between us and the world. It shields us from bacteria, harsh sunlight, and chemicals, but it also responds to our inner world. It picks up on every emotional shift, every wave of stress, every quiet moment of connection or loneliness. When you're embarrassed, your face flushes. When you're afraid, goosebumps rise. When you feel love, your skin somehow knows. And when you're hurt, physically or emotionally, your skin speaks up. In her book, Skin Deep, Everything You Need to Know About Skin, dermatologist Dr. Yael Adler shows us that skin isn't just biology, it's communication. It's home to an entire ecosystem, a nonverbal language that reveals how we live, how we eat, how we sleep, how we feel, and how we relate to the world around us. If you've always thought of skin as just the outside of your body, this might change how you see yourself. Welcome to the quiet, brilliant story of the body's largest, and perhaps most misunderstood, organ, your skin. We live our entire lives in our skin, and yet most of us know so little about it. Skin isn't just a fabric that wraps around the body, it's a living organ. In fact, it's the largest, most complex, and incredibly sensitive organ we have. It's where we meet the world, where we feel first contact, and where some of our deepest internal responses come to the surface. Skin makes up around 15% of our body weight and covers an average area of about 2 square meters. It's made up of 3 main layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutis. The epidermis is the outermost layer, constantly renewing itself, flaking off and regenerating. Beneath it, the dermis holds blood vessels, nerve endings, sweat glands, and hair follicles, a complex sensory network. And deepest of all, the subcutis stores fat and energy, cushioning and protecting our internal organs. But the skin's function goes far beyond what we can see. It is our first shield, protecting us from bacteria, viruses, chemicals, and UV radiation. It even has the remarkable ability to heal itself, something not all organs can do. More than that, skin is a vast sensory device. Each square centimeter holds thousands of nerve receptors. These allow us to feel pressure, temperature, vibration, even the gentlest touch or the sharpest pain. Skin also reflects emotion. When we're embarrassed, our face turns red. When we're afraid, goosebumps rise. When we're angry, our skin flushes with heat. These reactions are not random. They're the result of an intricate connection between the brain, the autonomic nervous system, and the skin. Skin is where the mind takes on a physical form. But skin doesn't just sense, it communicates. A gentle touch can ease sadness. A hug can dissolve loneliness. These aren't just physical interactions. They trigger the release of oxytocin, the hormone linked to trust, bonding, and calm. That's why newborns are held skin to skin right after birth, because safety and love begin not with words, but with contact. Skin also shows time more clearly than anything else. Wrinkles, pigmentation, the loss of elasticity. These are signs we can't hide. But rather than viewing them as flaws, skin can be seen as a biological diary, quietly recording how we live. It remembers sleepless nights, periods of stress, poor diet, and long hours under the sun. Every crease, every line, isn't a defect. It's evidence of a life truly lived. In our skin lives both the strength of our body and the vulnerability of our emotions. It is both a silent protector and a window into our inner world. When we care for our skin, we're not simply beautifying it. We're listening to our body, observing ourselves, and practicing a deeper kind of kindness. And perhaps the most important thing we can do is not to try to keep our skin ageless, but to recognize that skin isn't something we wear. It's a living, breathing part of who we are. The cosmetics industry constantly tells us that our skin needs to be improved. It needs to be whiter, smoother, wrinkle-free. It must be anti-aging, cell-renewing, or deeply nourished. And we believe it. Every year, billions of euros are spent on hope, neatly packaged in little jars and tubes. But in reality, as Dr. Yael Adler points out, most of what is advertised as miraculous never makes it past the surface of the skin. And sometimes, it may do more harm than good. Our skin is designed to protect us, which means it's not easily penetrated by anything we put on it. The outermost layer of the epidermis acts like a brick wall sealed with biological mortar. It keeps moisture in and unwanted substances out. As a result, most ingredients in cosmetics, even the expensive anti-aging actives, simply cannot pass through that barrier to reach the deeper layers where they could affect cell structure or function. Many people believe the more products they use, the healthier and younger their skin will look. But the truth is often the opposite. Skin has its own natural regulation system. It produces sebum to moisturize itself and sheds dead skin cells to renew. When we interfere too much, washing excessively, overexfoliating, layering product after product, we disrupt this balance. The result? Dryness, irritation, breakouts, and premature aging. Another concern is that many products contain fragrances, preservatives, and synthetic compounds that can cause inflammation, allergies, or disrupt the skin's microbiome. The damage isn't always immediate. Sometimes, the skin only reacts after months or years of exposure. Dr. Adler calls this low-grade chronic inflammation, a slow, silent form of damage that accumulates over time and wears down the skin's resilience. It's not just our skin that suffers, our minds do too. Surrounded by airbrushed ideals and filtered images, we forget that imperfection is natural. Pimples, wrinkles, pores. These are part of being human, not flaws to erase. But under pressure to look perfect, many of us fall into a vicious cycle. The more we try to fix our skin, the more it rebels. There's another truth that few people talk about. Cosmetics are not required to prove their effectiveness the way medicines are. In the EU, medicines must pass rigorous clinical trials, but cosmetics don't. As long as a product doesn't cause immediate harm, it can be legally sold. That means many of the promises printed on labels are not scientific facts, they're marketing language. And there's a fundamental mismatch between how skin works and how we use cosmetics. When you apply an anti-aging cream, you might hope that collagen, elastin, or hyaluronic acid will make your skin firmer. But these molecules are often too large to pass through the skin's barrier. Even if they do, the body doesn't use them as efficiently as it does the substances it produces naturally from within. So, what actually helps the skin? According to Dr. Adler, the answer doesn't lie in pricey serums. It lies in your lifestyle, your diet, sleep, air quality, sun exposure, and hormone balance. Healthy habits are the most sustainable and effective biological cosmetics you can give your skin. Of course, that doesn't mean all cosmetics are useless. Simple, fragrance-free moisturizers with safe ingredients can help retain hydration, especially for older adults or those with dry skin. But the key is knowing your limits. Skin doesn't need a 10-step routine to be healthy. It needs to be listened to, respected, and left alone when it's not asking for help. Beauty isn't wrong. But if your pursuit of beauty is rooted in fear of not being enough, not being worthy, then perhaps it's time to pause. Not to give up on skincare, but to ask yourself a deeper question. Are you really caring for your skin? Or are you trying to soothe an insecurity beneath it? Our skin doesn't just reflect age, it also holds the imprints of our emotional experiences, whether joyful or overwhelming. Every time we feel stress, anxiety, or emotional strain, the skin responds. According to Dr. Yael Adler, every mental and emotional impact leaves a mark on the skin, sometimes quietly, sometimes as visibly as a scar with no color. When the brain perceives a threat, whether it's a real danger or simply psychological stress, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in. The adrenal glands begin releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This is the body's ancient fight or flight response. But in the modern world, where we rarely run from predators, but instead face deadlines at our desks, the skin becomes the place where stress leaves its mark. Cortisol, the main stress hormone, when secreted in high amounts over time, can thin the epidermis, weaken the skin's protective barrier, dehydrate it, and increase sensitivity. It also overstimulates the sebaceous glands, leading to excess oil, clogged pores, and breakouts. That's why many people experience acne flare-ups during exams, sleepless nights, or periods of emotional tension. But stress doesn't just cause acne. It can also trigger or worsen chronic skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, and atopic dermatitis. These are not merely issues of immunity or genetics. They're deeply affected by our mental state. A negative cycle easily forms. The more stressed we are, the worse the skin becomes. The worse it looks, the more insecure we feel, and the more stress it creates. Beyond hormones, emotions themselves are visibly expressed on the skin. Embarrassment turns our cheeks red. Fear brings goosebumps to our arms. Strong emotions make our palms sweat. These reactions are proof of the deep connection between the autonomic nervous system, which governs unconscious bodily responses, and the skin. In a way, the skin is a biological mirror of our emotional state. Running parallel to these emotional reactions is the influence of hormones. Hormonal shifts throughout different stages of life leave clear traces on the skin. During puberty, increased androgen levels stimulate oil production, often resulting in acne. During pregnancy, fluctuations in estrogen and progesterone can lead to hyperpigmentation, sensitivity, or oily skin. And in perimenopause and menopause, declining estrogen causes the skin to thin, dry out, lose elasticity, and age more quickly. These systems, hormones, emotions, nerves, and the skin, are not separate. They form a tightly interwoven network that interacts constantly. Dr. Adler emphasizes that if we want to truly care for our skin, we must go beyond just creams and cleansers. We need to get enough rest, manage our stress, nourish our bodies, and pay attention to the signals from within. Skin doesn't just need products from the outside. It needs a nervous system that feels safe, a mind that is soothed, and a lifestyle that isn't always in overdrive. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for our skin is simply to give ourselves permission to slow down. Our skin is not just a protective layer, it's a living ecosystem. It's home to billions of microorganisms. According to dermatologist Dr. Yael Adler in her book Skin Deep, every square centimeter of our skin contains roughly 1 million bacteria, along with thousands of fungi, viruses, and other microscopic life forms. Altogether, up to 1,000 different species live on the skin, forming a unique and highly personalized skin microbiome for each individual. These microorganisms don't simply sit on our skin passively. They play an active and essential role in protecting it. They compete with harmful pathogens, produce natural antibacterial substances, and help maintain the skin's slightly acidic pH. When the skin microbiome is healthy and balanced, it acts like a biological shield, keeping out harmful intruders and stabilizing the skin's overall condition. But this delicate balance can be easily disrupted. Overuse of harsh cleansers, antibiotics, or even major changes in our environment can reduce the diversity of these microorganisms. When that happens, harmful microbes get the chance to multiply, and that can lead to acne, inflammation, or skin infections. One common example is Propionibacterium acnes, a bacterium often blamed for acne. Under normal conditions, it coexists peacefully with the skin. But when the microbiome is thrown off balance, P. acnes can grow unchecked, leading to inflammation and breakouts. Beyond surface-level issues, the skin microbiome has a close relationship with the immune system. These microbes help train the immune system, teaching it what's harmless and what's a real threat. When the microbiome is weakened, the immune response can become confused, either overreacting or failing to protect us effectively. This can lead to chronic conditions like eczema, psoriasis, or allergic reactions. That's why caring for the skin microbiome means going beyond just hygiene. It means using gentle cleansers, avoiding the overuse of antibiotics, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Time spent outdoors, a balanced diet, and managing stress can all support a more diverse and resilient microbial community on your skin. In a time when cleanliness and sanitization are heavily emphasized, it's easy to forget that not all microbes are enemies. In fact, many are essential allies in keeping our skin healthy. Understanding and respecting this invisible ecosystem is one of the most powerful steps we can take toward long-term skin health. We often think of skin as a smooth, neutral surface. But if we take a closer look, we begin to see the stories it quietly holds, sometimes as visible as an old scar, sometimes as subtle as a fine line at the corner of the eye, gently marking the passage of time. Skin doesn't simply change with age. It records moments, years of sleepless nights, periods of emotional stress, the dramatic hormonal shifts of pregnancy, or long days spent under the burning sun without a hat. Each of these factors, nutrition, emotion, habits, and environment, leaves its own handwriting on the skin. And the skin remembers, not in a clinical sense, but in a deeply human way, through wrinkles, pigmentation, firmness, texture, and even in how others look at us. Some people try to erase those marks with creams, lasers, or surgery. But as Dr. Yael Adler reminds us, we shouldn't feel the need to erase our stories just because they aren't flawless. Skin is not just something we wear, it's something we live in. It carries the imprints of everything we've been through, from hormone fluctuations to heartbreak, from sunlight to solitude. Whether we notice it or not, our skin speaks of our lives. It would be a mistake to view the skin only through the lens of beauty standards. It wasn't created to be pretty. It was created to protect, to feel, and to connect. And in its own quiet way, it also tells a story. The story of who we are, not with words, but with texture, tone, and gradual change. Once we understand that, we begin to care for our skin not out of fear or insecurity, but with gratitude. Because this skin has been with us through everything, shielding us, responding for us, and quietly reflecting the life that continues inside. Many people believe that beautiful, healthy skin is the result of expensive products, complicated skincare routines, or intensive treatments at high-end clinics. But in reality, the skin, a living, intelligent organ, often responds best to the simplest, most natural, and most sustainable care. According to Dr. Yael Adler, taking care of your skin shouldn't begin at the pharmacy or the cosmetics counter. It should begin with understanding your body. Yes, skin needs to be cleansed, but that doesn't mean the cleaner, the better. Some people wash their faces several times a day, or use harsh cleansers in an effort to strip away oil and dirt. But in doing so, they may damage the skin's protective barrier. The natural lipid layer is washed away, the pH balance is disrupted, and beneficial microbes are destroyed. As a result, the skin becomes dry, sensitive, easily irritated, and more vulnerable. A gentle cleanser used once in the morning and once at night is often all your skin really needs to stay clean without being harmed. After cleansing, the skin needs proper hydration. Moisturizing isn't just about applying a cream, it's a way to support the skin's ability to retain water, especially in air-conditioned environments, dry climates, or colder weather. But not all moisturizers are created equal. Some creams contain fragrances, preservatives, or silicones that give the illusion of smoothness while clogging pores and triggering inflammation over time. Dr. Adler emphasizes that simplicity is often the best approach. A fragrance-free, minimal-ingredient moisturizer, free from harsh additives, may be exactly what your skin is asking for. Sunlight is good for the soul, but it can be a hidden enemy for the skin. Ultraviolet rays don't just affect the surface, they penetrate deep into the dermis, breaking down collagen and elastin, accelerating aging, and increasing the risk of skin cancer. Age spots, freckles, wrinkles, and even melanoma often begin with unprotected sun exposure. A daily layer of sunscreen, paired with habits like avoiding direct midday sun, isn't just a smart move. It's an act of care and respect for your own body. You can't have healthy skin if your body isn't healthy. Every skin cell is nourished through your bloodstream, which carries the nutrients, oxygen, and substances you consume. A diet rich in vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, and whole foods provides antioxidants that protect your skin from cellular damage. On the other hand, sugar, processed foods, and alcohol can fuel low-grade inflammation and speed up aging. And let's not forget water. Well-hydrated skin is vibrant skin, and no luxury serum can replace a glass of clean water at the right time. Sleep is the most underrated skincare treatment, and it's free. While you rest, your body releases growth hormone, which triggers cell repair and regeneration. A lack of sleep doesn't just leave you tired. It makes your skin dull, saggy, and more prone to breakouts. And right alongside sleep, your emotional state matters too. Prolonged stress raises cortisol levels, which not only affects your mood, but also inflames the skin, weakens the barrier, and worsens skin conditions. But sometimes, the best thing you can do for your skin isn't something you apply. It's something you notice. Listen to your skin. If it's dry, don't reach for more products. Ask yourself if you've had enough water today. If it's breaking out, instead of hiding it under layers of concealer, ask whether you're stressed, sleep-deprived, or off-balance nutritionally. Skin doesn't act out without a reason. It's always communicating something. Caring for your skin shouldn't feel like a battle. It should feel like a quiet companionship, gentle, thoughtful, and rooted in awareness. When you learn to pause, simplify, and support your well-being from the inside out, your skin will know what to do, and it will glow in its own natural way. Throughout this journey, we've peeled back the layers of the skin, exploring its biology, its emotions, its invisible inhabitants, and the quiet ways our lives leave their marks on every cell. And perhaps, the most important message skin wants to tell us isn't about looking younger, smoother, or more aligned with someone else's standard of beauty. It's something simpler. Have we ever truly listened to our own skin? We often treat our skin as something separate, as if it has nothing to do with how we think, how we feel, or how we live. But in truth, the skin is the most honest mirror we have. It reflects our choices, our habits, our sleep, our stress, and even the quiet worries we don't always speak aloud. Skin remembers everything, and it responds, not with words, but with pigmentation, with fine lines, with unexpected breakouts. To understand the skin is to understand ourselves, not to fix it, but to connect with it. Not to fight time, but to live with time, more mindfully, more gently. Because skin is not just an outer layer. It is where the life inside us meets the world. If what you've just heard made you see your skin in a new way, with more softness, more kindness, then maybe now is the time to share your own story. Feel free to leave a comment below. Has your skin ever spoken to you? Have you ever noticed an emotion, a memory, or a season of your life quietly written into your skin? And if you found this kind of content meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next journeys into the quiet connections between body, mind, and the spaces in between. Thank you for listening, with your heart and with your skin.